Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another video, and welcome back to what I'm hoping will be the final part of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This should be the final trial of the game. I think it's in two parts. Um, but, but, I'm hoping we can get through it in one go. It's bloody cold in here, I can't feel my hands, I have a real problem. We think it's Raynaud's, but it's not been diagnosed. But my hands during the winter just like become icy cold, and like nothing I do can get the heat back in them. They are frozen, so this is going to be painful to play, but we'll get through it. Um, also, I was saying to my friends that I like doing the funny voices and stuff in this, and I kind of wished I'd given Edgeworth an English accent and made him sound like he was like a posh boy from Eton. And I was like, well, I can't do it now. There's only one part left. And they were like, no, do it. So we'll see. I might give Edgy a random English accent in this episode out of nowhere. But let's see. Where did we get up to yesterday? I remember. I do apologize again that I was half asleep when I recorded the last one. I was fine to start with, and then it just. Oh, this isn't coming through my headphones. There we are. And then it just seemed to go downhill really quickly, and I was just so tired. And I really do have this problem where it's like it happens to me all the time, particularly if I've got something playing in my ears, because it's when I'm doing my transcription for work. It happens as well, where I'll be sitting typing, and I'll just all of a sudden be like, and I just can't wake myself up. It's so bad. Someone outside on a motorbike wanting an entire street to know that they're there. So I'm awake today, or at least I am right now. Who knows? Maybe I'll start falling asleep. But yeah, I apologize that the last episode I was like coming out with the complete wrong words and just like lost the ability to read the screen. It's so embarrassing. Uh anyway, right. So yeah, I can't really remember where we got to. I remember we spent a lot of time in Chief Gant's office, and then oh wait, we had that jar. We put the final bit of the jar, and then we scanned the fingerprints, and it turned out that the fingerprints belonged to Emma. And I think that's where we finished. So we're back in court. So let's find out where this is going. February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Ah, Edgeworth. Should I do it? Should I do it? I don't know quite what I want to give him, like what accent. In my is that thing? It's like I don't know if it's just his persona, like that way where whenever you've got like a smart, kind of slightly borderline evil character or just outright evil character in an anime, or a cartoon, they're always English because English people are always evil. In all video games and anime and animated characters, the English ones are always evil. If someone goes in has an English accent, it's like, damn, they're gonna turn on us sooner or later. But I just kind of think I want him to just be like quite posh, so. But knowing me, will start turning Cockney at some point. Um, I'm just and thinking like, right, how can I make it sound like a man? Right, I'll just pick one, right? Knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 777777 ID number is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt in this ID record. If that number does belong to who you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. I'm thinking Draco Malfoy now. I'm thinking, when I started reading it, I'm like, Draco Malfoy is what I'm aiming for here. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling on the defendant. 5 minutes after the trial starts, Lana will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has in her, it's now. Yeah, Chief Gant is definitely behind all of this. Like, 100%. I'm still sus about Neil Marshall, though. I have my suspicions. February 25th, 10 AM, District Court, Courtroom number 9. They have a lot of courtrooms, and they all look exactly the same and have the same judge. What is that? Court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Skye. Also, why do they not have more than one judge? The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. My hand is still fucking cold. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Udgy, you been to the pool yet? Why is he on about the pool? I mean, I'd like to go swimming too, but don't really have anyone to go with, and swimming by myself is sad and lonely and boring. No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me I'm gonna forget now. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Oh, she's going to admit it, isn't she? Don't do it, Lana. The game will end. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? Yep, there we go. I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana. Girl, you're making my boy Phoenix look bad. Dinny. Aye, fucking objection, I should say so. You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, this trial went quicker than I thought it would. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant Edgeworth. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, No. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honour, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of the truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. It's a nice statement. You should put that on a coffee mug. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. So we're putting Emma on the stand again? Poor soul. Is it dark in here? It's only 2:45 in the afternoon, but it looks dark. My face is quite yellow because my Christmas tree is sitting behind the camera, so like the lights in the Christmas tree are reflected on my face, and I've got a slight Simpsons glow going on here. But whatever, we'll continue. I'll check in to see if it gets darker. Like that one time I was recording in the whole, you can even see me, it was just a talking black screen. And then I thought the camera was broken. I was like, oh no, it's just really, really dark. Okay. Now then, witness. Please state your name and occupation. Fucking hell. Click the wrong button. My name is Emma. Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. You sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Witness testimony, 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honour. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defence may begin its cross-examination. Oh, I don't want to have to cross-examine Emma. She's a little child. Okay, I was waiting in my sister's office that day. Press. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under Chief Detective Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Chief Detective Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. I forgot the accent. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look, and that's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Detective Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Gant was there too. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. After Dark? When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, and just then the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed out again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Obviously I want to hear more, come on. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Ask about the picture, come on. This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honour. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken? But I did draw it. I swear, I'm not just imagining it. This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. That must have been a real shock. Yeah, I would imagine it would be. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. Okay, we're back at the beginning. What have I got? I feel like all this stuff is like... Too old. Oh god, I'm yawning. I promised I wasn't going to be sleepy today. Oh no. I want to look at the incident files again. And this. Yeah, it says single stab wound piercing the heart and lungs, so that would be right when she says he was stabbed in the chest. Okay, that didn't really help me. I never actually looked at this, did I? Is there anything on it? Oh, wait, is that the picture she drew? Pictures drawn in the back of the evidence list in magic marker. I've got a very bad feeling about this. Oh shit, okay. Right. What did she say about the picture? Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you still insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold, this is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah, what's this? Yes, what is... yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Poor Edgy. Oda. Who'd have thought the picture would have been drawn on the back of the list? That was handed to Detective Goodman in the questioning room. Or, that was handed to Detective Goodman in the questioning room? Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor. Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. What's going on? Okay, I want a photo of that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Oh, edgy. Is something wrong? I mean, I'm getting the feeling that it might be. Oh my god, Edgeworth, please, please. Someone get him some beta blockers. This man's about to have a heart attack. Sorry, Your Honor. There is something drawn in the back of my list. This is that thing. Oh, for fuck's sake. No! No, stop playing the music. Oh my god, please. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Apparently, the head of criminal affairs used this for his blueprint. I guess he was out of scrap paper. The evidence list has been updated. Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she saw the picture. Emma's picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradiction for you. What? I don't see any what? What is a contradiction? I'm sorry. No, it's even worse than when she talked about the bondage yesterday. Oh God. Okay. Oh God, I'm crying slightly. I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. No, it fucking doesn't. It shows a black silhouette about to murder another black silhouette. It doesn't show shit. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Emma's picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the defective team, for fuck's sake. Well, I mean, the defective team is probably more accurate. During that time, the detective team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Diamond Gant and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in our mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? She did it in magic markers? She didn't have a full pack of pro markers to hand to draw an accurate picture. So at the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was bright. It was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? After that, I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm the bad guy. Duh. Anyway, that's picture. Shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives. Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. Better watch out, or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Right. Is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet... clearly a contradiction here. Right. What is it? I feel like it's something to do with the autopsy or the knife, because it's like the only things I can think that are related to the picture. So like, this knife. I mean, it's just a knife. It does say the tip was found in the victim's body. And the autopsy said... Oh god. Hit my start menu button. The autopsy says... Yeah, single stab wound pierced in the heart, lung. Died from blood loss in under 10 minutes. Weapon found in wound was missing tip. The knife tip was in the wound. I don't know. I feel like it must be that. I don't know why. I want to try it, but I don't think it's right. Is that the floor plan? Yeah, I can't remember what that was. Although there must be something to do with that vase, because we found the vase, didn't we? Clear handprint can be seen in the leather cloth. The print belongs to Emma. I think I'll keep this information to myself. Okay. Because I feel like that must have something to do with it as well. Okay, I'm gonna try. Oh, it went quiet. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? Oh god damn it. Wait. What? What is that? That doesn't look like the knife. Unless it's just a really bad drawing, but... The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. In fact, you don't even have to look closely to see that. Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. Yeah, but the tip was found in the body, in which case, how could it fit? What? It couldn't. It doesn't make sense. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dart was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Huh? Where could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was if the vacuum was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. But then why would the tip be in the body? Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. Then the tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. that implies that when the lightning flashed, what she actually saw was him taking raising the knife back up after having stabbed him, and it had already broken. I think. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. No. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was so sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife might be the piece of evidence that was forged. That is a fair point. I didn't consider that. I was thinking that she must have seen him raising the knife back up. But no, that's true. In this case, forged evidence is definitely an option. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Oda. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place on the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. Wait. I'm just thinking, looking at this picture, they have the knife with the broken tip on the shield, but the one that they give out now doesn't have a knife on it. Is that where the broken knife came from? Is that the real knife? Did he take the knife off the statue and stab someone with it, and then they put in a knife that was broken after they'd put the other end of the knife in the dead person? Is that why there's no knife on the shield anymore? Because that shield has been brought up so many times and hasn't actually played a part at all so far. I think I'm onto something here. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. I still keep going to say Drake. It's my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. Yeah, probably the whole damn thing is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. Yes, another broken knife. The one on the shield. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? Yes, there's another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it's just explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. 2 years ago, the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form. If anything's broken here, it's you. Huh? I'm sure this must all be very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. What? No! But may I remind you that the fate of Miss Lanisky hangs in the balance. Sorry, Your Honor. Please give me another chance. No! I'm right! I'm right! Is it this? Oh, maybe I need to show him this because the knife is actually on the thing in that photo. Ah, here we go. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. Okay, yeah, I needed to show him the version of the statue that's actually got the knife on it. That's annoying. Because the evidence, the description on the evidence, the statue evidence, is this, like, it still makes the point, but whatever. Here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Oh, this is a picture of the award ceremony. Ah! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. See, I said I thought Prosecutor Marshall was sus, and now it's his trophy that's get used in the murder. That's pretty fucking sus. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the picture was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood this award. Order. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and a broken knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would have been reversed. I mean, exactly what I keep saying, that I think that Neil Marshall was the one who attacked Joe Dark and not the other way around. I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Cue the five-finger death punch music. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Stop playing that goddamn music. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I would also try hard to forget the Blue Badger. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Guy? Yes, Your Honour. First the knife mix-up, and now the Blue Badger? This should be interesting. Emma's recollection. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw it. The Blue Badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. What in the goddamn fog? This is certainly most unusual. Yeah, just a tad. Try impossible. The head detective of criminal affairs didn't even design him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop, please, don't pursue this any further. I forgot she was here. Lana. Speaking of this, please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this, I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Cliff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of this matter. I'm so confused. I'm really confused about the Blue Badger thing. When I saw that man raise his knife... Oh god, my fucking touchpad's gone again. Oh, that's so annoying. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark. Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then I panicked and rushed towards both of them. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help Mr. Marshall. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast. And I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. You just said you remembered everything! What I did, it's all kind of a blur. In a matter of just a few seconds, Miss Sky was almost killed, and then she witnessed a murder about to take place. A little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then what happened next? Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the Blue Badger. Yeah, I need some clarification on this. Are you sure about this? Of course, see? I even drew a picture of him here. I'm thinking that maybe, like, Detective Gumshoe, like, saw this drawing and that's where he got the idea for the Blue Badger. But, I don't know, I'm very confused. But the head detective of criminal affairs thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his statue. Statue? Shadow? Oh god, I'm doing it again. Is Shadow? My ears are itchy. You mean you didn't actually see his face, with his winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 goofy horns. This is pointless. The thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. This must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation? If so, then by all means, please tell us what the shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when the lightning flashed? Who is this Blue Badger, really? I mean, I assume we know, but I don't... I'm confused. God, I hate him so much. I hate yawning, this is so annoying. Is it this? Because it's got like 2 things, but it doesn't have a lid. I bet it's the jar. The Blue Badger hadn't even been dreamed up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defence's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the Blue Badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright. In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious Blue Badger look like. It's this ugly thing, because it's got her blood on it and everything. The mysterious Blue Badger was in fact this. But that's... oh, what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of... but Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the Blue Badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Oh, I don't fucking know, do I? And it's like this. I don't... that can't be right, can it? Oh wait, like that? Well, is this a miracle or what? There we go. No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the Blue Badger. No, it can't be. Order. Order. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious Blue Badger witnessed on the day of the crime, was actually this. Oh, wheeshed. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? That badger thing was actually just a jar. It doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us. It's different now that we know the witness saw this jar. I don't know. Because we found the bit of that jar in Gant's office, and it's supposed to be Gant's office that it took place in, so that's fine. The murder weapon is still the knife thing off the shield, so that's fine. I don't think it changes the murderer. Alright, hold on. Tell him the location changed, and then tell him it's in the evidence. How does that change the location? Was the jar not from that office? I don't understand. Okay, I genuinely don't get why that's the case. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. Not only that, but she saw it at a very specific angle. Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testifies so herself. Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. They're the same room, Phoenix. No wonder I don't fucking understand how the location had changed. They're all one room. Fucking god. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? They're the same room. Yes. Why do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. I found a reason for me to move this dead body. Do you know what the reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. I haven't. So this is why Lana tries to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent this jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah, I'm still confused. The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the prosecutor's award. No. Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Are they saying he just fell into the knife that the statue is holding? Another possibility. Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. What's the matter? Oh, hold on. Oh, no. No, wait. If she knocked the guy and he fell into the suit of armor, and it stabbed him, and the guy holding the knife was Neil Marshall. Oh no, she pushed Neil Marshall into the sword and it killed him. Oh god, it was Emma. Oh no. It took me a good few moments there to put that together in my head. Oh god. If the events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. Oh no. Oh, I don't want to go through with this either. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually prosecutor Neil Marshall, and that's why Lana wanted them not to investigate it, because she knew if they reopened SL9, the truth would come out, that they'd covered the whole thing up to protect Emma. Oh god, they weren't corrupt. Nobody was corrupt. They were just trying to protect a 14-year-old girl from getting accused of murder. Oh god, except it wouldn't have been. It would have been an accident. Wouldn't it? Like, she pushed him because he had a knife and he fell and he hit a thing and died. It was an accident. But I suppose it was easier to cover the whole thing up than have to actually put the poor Lassie on trial. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Oh god, she fainted again. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joan Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that, coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body. To keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you want to have anyone believe your insane allegations, you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have any evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the very beginning. Touche, Miss Skye. Of course. That only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, somehow. You mean like when Mia wrote Maya on a piece of paper and then everyone decided that she obviously murdered her when that was absolutely not the case? That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left. Why have they just pulled this out of their collective arses? Does such a message exist? I don't fucking know, do I? It's getting dark, isn't it? It's getting Joe dark in here. Oh well, you can still see me for now. I've got to think back to the court records. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. I don't fucking know. It's got M's on it. This thing? The dark red stains must be blood traces from the incident 2 years ago. Only the fragment found in Gant's office still has the lines remaining on it. Is it this? Just because I'm looking at it and like... It is, look! I'm using my hand. E... M... A... Oh shit. It's in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Edgy, like, to be fair, we are here to prove a point. We're here to find the murderer. Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek. Truth. I seek the truth! Probably no one knows that song because it's the demo version of Show Yourself. No matter how painful it might be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Oh, good lord. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Or, oh, is he gonna just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. The blue badger definitely is a murderer. The message was left here on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood in this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. I wonder who. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood in some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here, drawn in blood. This is why they smashed the jar as well. So that no one could put the message back together. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points and find the victim's message, and the victim's message will become apparent. No. Oh, she fucking knows we're close to the truth. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? I realize I keep going like this, and I'm like, oh, they cry. I need to remember to try and set up them in the eye line. What kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I need to plug in my laptop very, very quickly. 2 seconds. Okay, good. Because if the laptop had suddenly died just as we're getting to the end of this case, that would be really annoying. Okay. The bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written, given the circumstances. He wrote Yanni, but when you connect them, it says Laurel. Right. Okay. This is great when my trackpad isn't playing up. This is the best time for this minigame. Okay, that one's fine. Fucking hell. Emma. I don't want to prove this though. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove his client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. No, I don't want to fucking restart now. Will you bugger off, Norton? Remind me in 24 hours. You've been reminding me in 24 hours for a week now. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. And here it was, I was thinking Prosecutor Marshall was actually the killer, but no. Turns out it was Emma. Deary me. I just looked down at my walkthrough, and it says things are getting tasty. Alright then. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. I should note that my walkthrough that I'm using is a completely spoiler-free walkthrough, so like it doesn't tell you anything about the case. It just has bullet point notes for if you get stuck, like what to click on next, but it doesn't actually tell you how to like solve it or like what anything's doing. Just if you're wondering if I'm looking at this and like spoiling the whole game for myself, I'm not. But I looked down there and it said like at the end of this bit that says Emma's recollection, it says things are getting tasty. Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. How dark is it now? I feel like it's getting very dark very quickly. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dart was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Ah, yes, Worthy. Oh, shit! An innocent man was sentenced to death. Oh, no! Oh, no! Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But Joe Dart really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I mean, sounds like they didn't have any proof. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. Oh, for fuck's sake, this whole case is a nightmare. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They may have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order, 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 order! The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued. Oh, man. Oh, I don't know how long the next section will be. I don't know if I've got time for it today. I might stop and record the next chunk tomorrow, because we've already been recording for an hour and 11 minutes, so if the next chunk of case was also an hour, we'd be going over 2 hours again. So I might leave it and do the last part tomorrow. I've got some time tomorrow morning. I think that is what I will do, and then I won't be cutting it close, because I hate that. I hate when I feel like I'm, like, rushing to get through something. Look at this state of how dark it is, like... Hi. Yeah, I think that's what I will do. So I will save for now. That went in such a different direction than when I thought it was going. I still think Chief Gant is clearly fucked up, but it does sound as if the reason they forged all the evidence and everything wasn't to be a bunch of dickheads. It was because they were trying to protect Emma. Although I think Chief Gant is enjoying the fact that it's ruining Edgeworth's day, and Edgeworth looks like he's like might gonna like lose his job or something. I feel like Gant's enjoying that a bit too much. But yeah, I'm just scrolling because I'm trying to gauge how long the next section will be. It looks like we've got Gant testifying a few times, and then we've got Lana testifying a few times, and it looks like it might be quite a long one. So yeah, I think we're good to record that in a separate one. Yeah, that was all. That was nothing but twists. I did not see any of that coming. I feel absolutely terrible for poor Emma now. But yeah, so one last part to go, one last bit of trial, and we will be finished. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I honestly, this case, my friends told me that this case is super long, and they are completely right, because it is. But I've really enjoyed this case. Like that whole bit there, that whole trial there, that was great. I really enjoyed that. It was like so much twist, and like the bit where like I finally pieced it together in my brain, I was just like, no. I loved that. That was so good. I love when it all like sort of like comes together in your brain and you're like, oh, I figured it out. Like me, like I think I had that kind of same reaction doing the Steel Samurai, where I was like, oh, I figured it out. Like, but that it still wasn't quite as big a shock moment as there, when I was just like, wait a minute, no. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So thank you for watching. Let me know how much Edgy's English accent annoyed the life out of you. And I will see you in the next one, where we will finally put this game to rest. And I have absolutely no idea what the outcome of this case is going to be, because we've got one girl who killed a guy by accident, we've got somebody who covered up evidence, we've got Edgeworth involved in a scandal, Chief Gant's just been a dickhead. I have no idea where this is going at this point. I really don't. But we'll find out together in the next one. So until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.